guys, welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. So I intended on doing some vlogging last weekend. You know, it was Easter. It was in New York. That didn't happen, but we shopped. We got a lot of fabric. I'm out of breath, guys. I just ran up the stairs. Why did I do that to myself? Anyway, so I will do doing a weekend vlog, and I will talk about all the fabric and things that I picked up when I was in Brooklyn with my mother, and journal move started. So that was exciting to see people participating and the spread. So hop over to my Instagram if you want to see what it looks like, or you go to my blog to get the calendar. Never too late to join, so keep that in mind. So yesterday, where there was family, I was at my desk prepping and getting things together to start before I go to work. So I've been trying to journal now in the mornings because it gives me a little bit more time to do a nice spread and all that good stuff. However, literally getting ready to start, sitting at the desk, my house is shaking. And it was one of those familiar shake, because I was like, no, I live in a mountain. It never experienced that kind of situation. So I was like, okay, maybe a tree fell on my house. You know, there's trees everywhere around me. So I'm still on pause, and I'm up here on my loft, which is the third floor of my house. And I'm like, oh no. So I ran downstairs and I looked, there was no tree. And then I'm like, oh my God, that was an earthquake. Because it felt very familiar at the time though. But I was just in denial because I'm thinking, no way we're having an earthquake in this area. It was. And it was very uncomfortable. It felt long. It felt long. And I'm home alone. So in my mind, I'm like, this is not it. So, and of course, checking with the family, my mom, and, you know, everybody was just as surprised and shocked as I was, like, that we're experiencing that on this side of the world. But it is what it is. Solar eclipse on Monday. Let's hope that's the last rumble. Because I'm not about that earthquake life. So, oh my God, third one. Whew. And all three, I was by myself. All three. Yeah. Anyway, but nevertheless, it happens on this neck of the wood, you know. Expecting the Caribbean, expected on the hot area. Yeah. But anyway, if anybody experiences, yeah, it was real. It was real. So anyway, let's talk about the books you guys want to talk about. Let me fix my face. So we have Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Mark Twain. And then we have James by Percival Everett. So I'm going to talk about the things I love, things I didn't like, and my overall thoughts of the story. This is a classic that is, believe it or not, it was published after slavery ended. But this is a classic that is targeted for children to read. It is considered a children's book. Reading this as an adult, painful. Painful. It is painful because it portrayed a black man in this who's a slave as a buffoon, who don't have any idea how to even talk, comprehend things, who is just spoken for, no voice whatsoever. And then Percival decided, I'm going to give James a voice, and I'm going to retell this story in James' version. So in this, you have a boy who is looking for adventure, but there's a backstory to it. But now these people in a town where slavery exists are believing that he was killed or died or basically killed. And then we have James in this, who is overheard that they were going to sell him, and sell him to, in terms of another state where he would be not around his family, his wife and kids, that kind of deal. He was not trying to be sold. So he ran off, and while he was trying to figure out what his move is, because he didn't have he had no plans. He didn't know what he was doing. He just know he was going to get away. That's how he looked at it. Chance encounter with Huckleberry Finn in this. And what ended up happening is now people going to believe, because he's ran off, that he may have killed the little boy. It is an adventure story, because he's meeting different people. There's like they on they're sailing away. They're on these rafts. You can kind of picture it in your head. It's very the way it's written is very descriptive. That's the word I'm looking for. And you can kind of imagine the journey they're on and the people that they are crossing paths with and the things that happen. But again, it is centered for more of a children's book. So there's things about it that is just quite annoying. The absolutely most annoying thing about this book is the constant use of the N-word. It is used in this book damn near every other page, that you kind of, after a while, it's just like, come on now. You could have I mean, it's almost like, it's an insult any way you look at it. But at least maybe use a boy, maybe use something else. But it was just like constant. It was just like over and over and over, that it was just like a bitter taste in my mouth, where I'm like, I just want to finish the book. It, like, at some point it was just like I could care less certain things that were happening, because the N-word was just too much for me in this. So I get why a lot of people would not. And honestly, would not recommend this book. Not to mention, the N-word is all over the damn pages. And on top of that, I am reading it, looking at these horrible photos, illustration, sorry. These horrible illustration in this. That is, some of it was, was okay. You got this part. This is okay. But when they really like drawing James and how he just looks like an animal, pretty much, that it's insulting. Like, I do not recommend this. Like I said, in a way, this is my second. I read this as a kid, so I didn't comprehend a lot of things about the things that was happening. Reading this as an adult just kind of like made me like. However, it made me appreciate this more because I read this. I think had I just read this alone, I don't think I would appreciate as much as how clever and interesting and things that he actually changed in this version for this, that kind of deal. So in this, James is purposely portraying himself as a buffoon because it's the idea that as a slave you cannot read, you cannot speak proper, quote, proper English. And so how is communicate, you can see where this made it more interesting, how he was explaining all that situation in here. Now in here, James have a voice. James is telling his story. There's a part in this where he kind of not in the book at all. And it's like the author said, ooh, let's talk about what James might have been doing during that time of the book when James kind of disappeared. So in this, you have that. You see his love for his family. You see how brave he is. And you see his conscience of certain things that's happening to him in this version. The writing, unbelievable. I'm going to say it even though the N-word killed me. The writing in both were good. This is a classic that was written very well. I have no complaint per se with the writing. It's the use of that word that just really irritated me in this. But it did reflect the time. It did reflect what was how people speak of black people and how they perceive them in this. So it really is realistic in that sense. So I understand that as a person who loves classic. You guys know I'm a huge classic fan and I read a lot of classic. But this one irked me the most. In this, it gave him a voice in terms of him being not even knowing what his direction was half the time, but knowing what he was no longer going to accept. There's a bit of a secret that was revealed in this that was like, I question it in this, in the beginning, because there was in the beginning of this, there's a part that was like, had me ringing like, huh? That kind of situation. And when it was done in this, I was like, oh, so the author was thinking like I was thinking. So that part I said, aha, all right, we like that part, putting it in this, but I know it's weird. I know it's gonna stir a couple of pots when people read this part. I liked the ending of this. Absolutely liked the ending of this. This one, not so much. This one was okay. I get the gist, but then there's that savior going on here. You know, the white savior in this. Versus this, I'm gonna get my family. I don't care how I do it. I don't care what it turns me into. I don't care what thing I might have to do. I am going to get my family. And you get that in James. Now, overall, this is the first time I've actually did a homage where I prefer the remake over the classic. And I think in this, it's going to be a bias for me because I'm a black woman and I want a hero and I want a black person on the pages depicted in a positive light with some sense, versus this where it's just, it as a black person, it's just make my skin crawl. So that's how I would, just being fair. Now, I would say creativity in this, James definitely was able to hold it up. In a lot of times when you read a lot of remake and homage, it loses something where it goes dark in terms of dark to the point where it takes away some of the innocence of the classic. The dark needed to happen in this. The dark needed to happen in this. It's a common thing with a lot of remake where the remakes tend to be darker than the original. The dark needed to happen in this because it needed to have a hero. And the hero had to go through some darkness for what he needed. So I can appreciate the darkness that this become in this. There's some dark moments in this for James. I can appreciate it because it needed to happen. So, again, read at your own risk, the classic. Just know you might want to throw the book in the garbage when you're done. But just read at your own risk. Highly recommend this. I can't 100% say read this without never reading this. It's one of those weird ones where I feel like I think I enjoyed and appreciate this more because I read this. If you have done that, let me know. If you have read James, but you never read this, how much did you like it? That kind of deal. Or those who have done what I've done, I've read both. Now, it is a difficult book. And this is why I wouldn't recommend, because I don't need nobody to have that emotional issues going through this, especially someone who's black. You will struggle with here and there, you know, the buffoonery. I cannot talk. But anyway, just you might have a difficult time with this. I think most black people will have a difficult time with this book. But James, I think it's more of a redemption kind of story, and I do appreciate the author creativity in this, but not taking so much away from the story that you're thinking it's a completely, you felt like, okay, we're still in this world. We're still in Huckleberry Finn's world. Now the adventure, I've got to even mention that they both felt like they were on an adventure. They both felt like they were on an venture. And so that also is interesting, and positive facts about the fact that they both felt like they were on some water, going through surviving on little to nothing, and just don't have no idea what they're doing, but they're going to survive kind of deal. So you felt that in both books. So we're gonna end this here. Again, join me in the next video, because this way I will show you all the goodies. And of course, you guys see me wearing this dress that I made. This is my first finished project of April. So I did start this in March, but I just didn't have time to finish it last weekend because, you know, I was in New York. And I like it. I wouldn't make it again. The direction in this was a little bit womp womp for certain parts in the waistline, and I made a mistake, and I was trying to fix it a little bit, and I think I did fix it enough, but I know it's a small little flaw where you probably won't notice it, but that's part of sewing and learning. So yeah, so I will see you guys in the next one. Again, tell me how you really feel about these. Tell me. All right, guys, see you in the next one. Bye.